Hi everyone, in this lecture we will talk about a very important concept of Python, and that is namespaces. But before we actually talk about namespaces, let me tell you one very important thing, and that is everything in Python is an object. So you need to keep this point in mind. Just write it on your notebook that everything, either it's a variable, either it's a function, either it's a method, everything in Python is an object. Okay, and now let's see what are namespaces. So namespaces are systems or collection or simply pools where Python stores the objects along with their name. So you can consider name as a unique identifier of every object. So in order to distinguish between different objects, Python automatically create namespaces and assign unique identifier to each object that we have used in the script. And these namespaces are automatically maintained by the Python itself in form of dictionaries. So I hope that you have understood namespaces are pools where Python stores all the objects along with their unique identifiers. Now let's talk about the types of namespaces. So there are three types of namespaces known as built-in namespace, global namespace, and local namespace. We have an enclosed namespace as well, but again enclosed namespace is something which is related to nested functions, and we have not discussed nested functions, so we will learn it after nested functions. Now let's talk about each namespace. So whenever you open your Python IDLE or your Python IDE, functions like print, ID, input, type, all of them are available to you. You can use them in functions, you can use them outside the functions. So all of these functions and the keywords are declared in the built-in namespace. So whenever you open your interpreter, Python creates automatically a built-in namespace in the backend. Now let's talk about global namespace. So whenever you declare a variable in your program, the Python creates a global namespace and it contains all the functions of the modules that you have imported explicitly, like we have discussed the math module, the collection module. So whenever you import a module, Python stores all the object of that module in the global namespace. And obviously local namespaces are created whenever you create a function in your Python program. So I hope that you have understood the built-in namespaces, global namespaces, and local namespaces. And here let me tell you one very important thing again, and that is all of these namespaces are isolated from one another. So in the previous lecture, if you remember, we have used a variable with the name a outside a function and the same variable inside the function, but they had different values. So it proved that these namespaces are isolated from one another, and that's the reason why we were not getting any kind of error in that situation. Now let's talk about the lifetime of these namespaces. So the lifetime of these namespaces or these pools depend on the lifetime of their object or their scope. Let's suppose you have created a function, and whenever Python executes the body of the function, it creates a local namespace for that function. But once the function returns a value, the Python interpreter automatically deletes that local namespace. And whenever you close your program, the Python automatically deletes the global and the built-in namespace of the program. So I hope that you have understood namespaces in Python, and again it's a conceptual topic, and I'll try my best to give some extra material regarding namespaces in Python down below, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye bye.